we're going to make a space station at this point. And then we'll probably wrap it up, but we'll make a space station. We'll set everything up. It'll be a refueling station in orbit around Kerbin with the idea that future long-range missions like to Duna and whatever, we can launch something a little bit lighter, attach some fuel tanks in orbit, and then make it go. It'll be a little bit better. So, we're going to make it a little bit more of a degree of challenge over here by adding a little bit of rocket fuel. There we go. So what's going to happen? Bah. Let's do this. Oh, I had a brainstorm actually. While what we should have done, rename a Kerbal to Chris Hadfield. Yeah, if you could, you can't rename Kerbals in the vanilla version. Some good mods for it though. Boom, load. So our little Duna lander, which 130,000 is not bad for the amount of science this thing is going to generate. But yeah, I had a brainstorm. What would have been way better is a tiny little alteration. Could you imagine? And this is what I'm going to do in the future. I'm going to throw landing gears here. It's going to suck a little bit on takeoff, but... Oh, hold on. That's not the way I meant it. You're going to go... Nope, not that way. That way. No, you're still in the wrong position. Come on. Oh, there's just not a good spot for it over here. I'll use the manual rotation tool. But the idea being... Is this is extended, right? I was going to say... No, it's definitely backwards, because this does not look particularly retracted, does it? But imagine landing gears there. I'm not going to lock it in here. But like this sort of setup. So you get this like four-way spikiness. So if you lands on the side, it's fine, right? And just sits there. I think that'll be awesome. Anyway, that's not what we're doing now. Don't save. We are going to work on a space station. Now, what we need for this is we need a viewing cupola. That's one of the requirements. Can orbital station around Duna, orbital station around Kerbin. It needs antenna, docking port, generate power. It needs the viewing cupola. It needs to host at least 11 Kerbals. Yeah, antenna and docking ports. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up part of it. We're probably going to put it up in 2 separate goes. But this version, this one here can have the antenna. Actually, we might leave a docking port up there. Do we have the clamp, like the shielded docking port? I don't think we do. No. We do have the regular clampertron, though. Which can at least go there. Although we may or may not use that location for that. I don't know where I want to put this antenna. I guess here's not bad. So we can get additional Kerbal storage. I don't know if there's a way to search it, but the hitchhiker container here. So the cupola fits how many? Copula? How the fuck do you spell it? Whatever, that. Fits 1. So you get 4. So that's 5, 9, and as long as there's room for 2 more, I suppose we could overkill it like this. Or we could put in a science station here, which would look cool, but the science station's quite heavy. But this would be like, this would satisfy our number of Kerbals. In fact, it would be overkill with the number of Kerbals over here. We don't need to put that many Kerbals there. They just need to have room, which is what's happening here. They have to have enough space. And I guess we might send this up pilotless, which might mean we'll use one of the probe cores and then stick that on top like that, which is totally fine. But we're going to want it to look a little bit better overall in terms of docking ports. So if we grab these radial attachment ports and say we go here and here, and then get our docking ports in front of that, I guess I can just use the one from the top. Like there and there. So now we got a bunch of different attachment points. Now, it's worth noting I'm using the regular docking ports here, not the docking port junior. I think I'm going to want to offer up like a backup docking port junior spot, just in case. Maybe one of these. You know what, I'm going to make it non-symmetrical. And on this side, it's going to be a docking port junior. just in case I end up launching something that uses that, because maybe it works out better, or maybe I used the wrong one. So we're going to start off with that. Solar power. You just need something to work at first. So I'm going to get a couple back here, and I'm going to make sure to use a few of the flat panels. Oh yeah, these are the huge flat panels. Yeah, right here. That way if I don't extend it or whatever, there'll still be a little bit of passive power gain. It's important not to put the long ones in between here, even though it would look cool, but it would be impossible to dock. Reaction wheels and RCS thrusters. I don't think I'm going to add RCS thrusters to this part. This part is the part that's not going to move. It's going to be the base. That being said, it probably could use a reaction wheel, because that probe core is not going to really cut it. There we go. So there we go. So that's the core. This satisfies absolutely every part of it except for the 400 units of liquid fuel, which is what we're going to ship up next. We're going to like dock some fuel canisters onto the side, and then ships will come in on the other side. Oh, lights. That's what we need. Ships will come in on the other side, and they can transfer fuel, or, you know, maybe we can detach something and plug it in on the other end. Lights. So what I want is that, and then rotate. I think I'm going to have to use an offset as well. Because what I want to do is I want to have these lights to shine sort of straight out. Like that. So you can see the light in the distance. It'll be your target, basically, for what to aim for. Alt-click, and drop there. There we go. So each one of these docking ports has a light just above it that you can target. Maybe I'll make them, I'll color them. I'll make them green. If you see a green light, you can dock there. If you don't see a green light, it probably means that someone is in the way. Genesis asks an interesting question. I've never understood the use for satellites in KSP. What do you use them for? Mostly for completing contracts. Mostly there's something like, theoretically, there's some private entity that's hiring you for a satellite contract. It does come in handy. Occasionally you get missions to transmit science from an orbit of whatever, in which case you can use one of your existing satellites to just transmit a zero-value science, and that will complete the quest as well. There's a great mod called Remote Tech that adds a lot of that, and antenna range, that adds a lot of real purposes for satellites. They're a little bit complicated. Luckily, originally in Kerbal 1.1, but now it's going to be 1.2. They're going to add some of the like antenna range mechanics and things like that into Kerbal Space Program itself, at which point a satellite network is going to have a huge amount of value. But for now, not really much. And next question. We name it Kerbal on 5 or Deep Kerbal 9? That's an excellent question. What are we going to name this? I mean, we can rename it later. You know what I want? I want like light strips. I don't just want these like solid lights. I want like little light strips, little blinking lights that go up and down. I want like more LED lighting. I want cool stuff like that. That's my request here. So, I mean, I'm going to call this just Station 1 for now as the core. But once we launch it, we can rename it, right? This is just the model. The model is just going to be Station 1. So we could have another docking port back here. And I guess that's probably a good idea because right now it doesn't get used for anything. So I guess I will go and attach. It's got to go that way. A docking port. And then something like this. Actually, we don't need that. And then the idea is just have a giant fuel tank here. Maybe, you know what? No, we're going to have a smaller approach fuel tank. Just something like this for the final steps. Yeah, I like that. And then a little poodle or something. And it's going to be important to reinforce this. Deep Space Kerbal. Kerbal 9, Kerbalo 13. Well, that might be another moon mission. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and reinforce this. Oops. Because docking ports are not very sturdy. And there's a good chance bad things will happen if we try to launch as is. There we go. So we'll do that. When we unleash this docking port, it'll just drop the other bit and we'll be fine. We might want some... you know, actually, this is a good idea. This thing here has great potential to be used as a tug later on. If I take this and get a mono propellant tank on here, giant one, got that, and then it needs a probe core. This has reaction wheels at that too. Something like this, and then we get some RCS thrusters on the outside. I don't know what the center of mass of this thing is. Tell you what, let's just go with like lots of RCS thrusters on this little bit. This thing, if it had power, it's not going to need much. Might want batteries, I'm not sure. But this thing can just stay attached to this, you know, some of the time. Oh, it would need its own docking port, which it doesn't have right now. And what it can do is it can attach to other ships and tow them around. If the other ships don't have RCS, but they have a docking clamp, we can clamp onto the ship and tow it in position in different ways. And use it as a tool. Just, yeah, some random little vessel kicking around. I like that. We haven't unlocked the actual clamp yet, so it's not going to be able to just attach to things arbitrarily, but it will be able to grab many things. There we go. So that way it'll be stable during launch. I like it. I don't think it needs anything else. I think it's going to be fine like that. I suppose we might want to give it a reaction wheel so it doesn't always have to use RCS. It does have a reaction wheel in the top bit. I'm not sure how reactiony it'll be. You know what? It's probably fine. Save. Alright, and this is also what we're going to use to make sure that our original station gets in the right position. BTG Delta, thanks for the sub. Hashtag save Bill. Well, only Bill? You guys don't care about anyone else? So a rescue mission to Duna, all you care about is that there's enough room for Bill to come home. Is that it? Okay, that's legit. So now we need the lifter phase, and it's going to need a bit more than just this here. This is a fairly heavy vessel so far, at 68 tons. And just out of curiosity, where's my little mathy thing? At 68 tons times 9.8, and the thrust of the mainsail is 1379. 1379. Means, oh, we have a thrust to weight ratio of 2 right now. That's pretty good. I don't think we'll have enough delta V, but it's good to know that this gets somewhere. So no, I'm going to throw another couple of stages on here, but we might not need a whole lot. We're only going to low orbit. Maybe for some reason I like to park my space stations at around 200. Means you need a little extra delta V to get to it, but then it's, you know, slightly closer to other things, and it means I can launch. Any ships that's supposed to rendezvous, I can launch to like 100K and then do a home and transfer up to 200. And it just works out pretty nicely. Something like that. And like that. And I think that's the only nose cone we have for that size. And we will need some struts. Down at the bottom, and then can go from here to there. There you go. As long as it attaches somewhere, that's fine. Will the space station have a thermal exhaust port? No, that's crazy! That sort of stuff gets you destroyed. Why would you include that? Why don't you use Kerbal Engineer? Because we're running version 1.1 over here, and Kerbal Engineer is not currently available. I am a big fan of Kerbal Engineer and MechJeb, either one, for get some Delta V calculations. And hopefully at some point we do get Delta V calculations built in. So this is not terribly aerodynamic. I guess, though, there's no reason. I mean, we could use a fairing, but I can just do that, and then it can get decoupled from there later on. I mean, it won't be an explosive decoupling, though. So it'll still just hover around. I think I should probably use a separator. Because this way it'll explosively throw it away. I could also use a decoupler facing the other direction. That might be better. A decoupler facing that way. Just technically because it fits a little bit better. And then we'll need to strut that on. That's only paired symmetry. I mean, I want four-way symmetry. There we go. So, I mean, that looks like something that's made out of chewing gum, duct tape, and I think that's sufficiently Kerbal. So let's check the staging. We want all the engines to go, and then that, and then, whoa, we've got one too many separations going on. That, followed by this engine. All right. What could possibly go wrong? Batteries? Yeah, I think you're right. Now, we don't have the 1K batteries. Oh, we do! And I don't think we actually have a power requirement. Some of the mods had that, and it doesn't. But it's going to pay off nicely to have a big stack of power. That's more power than we'll ever need for anything. But it'll feel good to have it. And if it feels good, do it. Yeah, modules have electric charge. I mean, there's... I don't think the Hitchhiker ones do. Copula does, 200 in fact, which is pretty good, and the Probe Core does. But we'll go ahead and get a whole ton of electric charge going on here. Alright, let's go into space. I need to make sure there's no crew in here. Batteries for the Tug. I think the Tug can live without it. I thought about it, but I'm like, it really isn't going to need that much power. I mean, I guess it might end up operating on the dark side. All right, fine. What the hell? You know what? Whenever the Tug is plugged into this, it's going to share its battery power. So let me go and save a little bit of weight. We're going to do this. So we'll have one big battery in the main station, and whenever this is plugged in, they'll be sharing their battery power, and that'll all work out. The Tug's going to recharge faster plugged into the thing. It's not going to use very much power, and it's going to be idle most of the time. So yeah, no crew. Action groups. Yeah, I guess action groups. Group 1. I mean, we're mostly just going to deploy this stuff once. And it's just here to really toggle the power. Not enough Delta V for orbit. Oh, it's possible. I don't know. This is going to be heavy. It's also going to be unstable as heck. We're going to have to launch very, very vertically. Very, very vertically. Valentino will get to go on another... Oh, yeah, I didn't actually build any... Yeah, turns out to be okay. It stands on its own. Let's go. Woo, that is a lot of thrust! Let's bring that down a wee bit here. Wow! And gravity turn. Oh, it wants to topple over. Oh, Lord. There we go. Also, we don't have a probe core that can do... I didn't realize I was using the lowest level probe core here. We don't have one that can lock the prograde. Okay, throttle down. Yeah, that's why I said we're gonna go relatively steep. I really want to use a probe core that's smarter. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is okay. Yeah, and we'll just launch relatively vertically, and it's going to be fine. Wow, we're still going crazy. This is a lot of thrust. Okay, I'm gonna have to stay very strictly within the prograde circle here. This is a powerful lifter. Definitely over-engineered. Whoa! I'm not looking at the screen, I'm just looking at the nav ball. But yeah, these aerodynamic forces. We have such a long ship. There's a lot of surface for it to start to get messed with. It's very hard for me to keep it where I want. And I'm having a hard time launching directly eastwise, which unfortunately is not good because I really want to be properly equatorial. Now see if I can nudge it back that way. It'll be a little easier now that the atmosphere is a bit thinner, because the ship's going to be less interested in flipping over like mad, but it still feels barely controllable here. Okay, I'm about to stage. Oh, yeah, even harder to control now. Because one, we've lost some of our struts, so there's a bit more wobble. And two, because we have less gimbling engines, I have a little bit less control over here. Yeah, a little bit heating effects. I'm going to throttle down. We're definitely on a bit of a steep ascent, but not the worst. I don't feel like I have the time to go and check the map to see where I am, because I have to babysit this non-stop to make sure it stays in the circle here. What are we at? Okay, I'm aiming for 200, because I like that. For some reason, I just like to put it there. You need a little bit more delta V to reach the station, but it feels cool to me. Alright, we're doing well now. Now it's like hands off. There's no atmospheric effects, so everything is perfectly fine. And I'm going to stop it just before, because what's going to happen when I try to circularize, I will be overshooting things a little bit, almost certainly, and I'll probably add to my APWAPS. I have a feeling our little tug module is going to be full of fuel, because I don't think we're going to need it. Hang on. Bring back over here. Try to get a little bit more accurate, although it's quite tricksy. Alright. Well, this is mostly... I'm going to target this, and then I'm going to thrust until something becomes 200. Yeah, this would be a lot easier if I could just lock the prograde. Hit the 1 key to deploy my solar panels, which is going to make me even more off-center of Massey, but that's alright. And whoa. Let's try to steer. Could turn on the RCS, but I don't think that would be a particularly good use of my time. Come on. Shuffle over. You can do it. There you go. And we'll start the burn at about 12 seconds. Maybe when it says 11. And go. Yeah, without being able to lock the prograde, this is actually... It's a little trickier to set it up on the map. Also, the fact that these solar panels really do like to drag me off to the side here. Oh. My staging got borked at some point. I'm happy I didn't just stage a second time. Although, wait. There we go. Let's try not to smack into our own nose cone. Takes a special kind of skill here. Alright, well, we're beyond the node, but let's go ahead and try to complete this. Supposed to mostly go prograde here. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to fix our orbit. I'm going to keep burning prograde until I have an APWAPS that is 200 meters, or 200 kilometers. Oh my god! Why did I not include... when I reset the launch, I should have just switched probe course to something that had... I might have to send these guys a brain upgrade. Just going to keep burning here. That's pretty good. I'm not going to go too crazy because I want to make sure... Yeah, I was going to say, we are so not equatorial. As a shortcut, what I can do is set Angie's debris to my target because it is equatorial. So that means I'll be able to move... Where is it? That is the descending node. So I actually want to burn normal when we cross here and straighten ourselves out. Oh. Whoop! Oh! Just blew past that. Forgot how long it takes to go and stop from a time warp. And see, by burning like this, it is going to change other aspects of my orbit, so... I'm just going to flip to the other side. We'll straighten ourselves out on the other side of our orbit. And then we'll get ourselves in a nice, mostly equatorial, 200k orbit is what we're going to aim for. And, whoop. What are we at right now? Oh, we still haven't exceeded. Our apps is only 198, so we actually have a little bit of space there, which is nice. There we go. I'm just assuming that Angie's debris is equatorial. The other thing you can do is you can plant a flag by the KSC, because this KSC is on the equator. And if you plant a flag, you can set the flag as your target. And then you can use that as a way to check your inclination. Okay, there we go. That's pretty flat. Apoapsis 198 is pretty damn good. What's our parry? 152. So mostly what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip... I guess I could take a second and burn prograde here. Oh, that's prograde. By burning here, I'll mostly be raising my periapsis. I'll also raise my apoapsis a little bit, but not that much because we're still pretty close. Okay, that's pretty good. Parry 187. So I'm gonna loop around back to the apoaps. Come on, warp to here. And then we'll just burn prograde a little bit more from there. Oh, clear my target. I was getting confused as to who I was. Target the moon. The moon's at 0 inclination. Oh, that's a handy trick. Never occurred to me to do that. That is really handy. Can I not just... Oh, I guess not from this view. I gotta be in this view to double click and clear a target. Aha. So if I did target the moon... Yeah. Okay. We're okay. Perfectly equatorial. Bit lopsided looking, but that's alright. Coming on the apoaps. In 30 seconds, gonna be a really short burn, so... There we go, and... Start the burn. Wait a tick, we'll get a little closer to the app again. Oops. And prograde and go. And there we go. 199.8, 199.4. Good enough. Good enough. Still got a good amount of fuel in here. Various systems. Oh, we got to turn on the lights, obviously. Let people know where we are. And that's that. I mean, power is going to be constant and safe and perfectly okay. So, to complete the next step of our contract, we've got everything we need except for 400 units of liquid fuel. Doesn't care about oxidizer, just the liquid fuel part, which actually sets us up really nicely as a station to potentially provide fueling for nuclear engines. Or space planes. Hey, yeah, why aren't those lights green? What the what? Also, I need to rename the station and change its flag. Why aren't those lights green? So, we're going to call this station the hashtag save Bill. So this is the Kerbal space station, hashtag save Bill. And we're going to specify that it's the station. I'm sure I set these to be green. Actually, hold on. They are shining green light. Oh, their texture here is not green, but the light they're shining is green. Interesting. I wonder if it was like that in 1.0, or what's what. But yeah, the light coming off of them is definitely green. You can see the sheen right here. See that? It's green light.